Hey everyone, it's Jem with ChappyPlans. Thanks for joining me for this Try It Tuesday video. I'm going to be setting up my summer 2025 travel album, so stick around. Hey everyone, it's Jen with ChappyPlans. This is part one of my travel album for 2025. I'm using the majority of last year's travel collection to document this year. These are items I actually purchased all separately, not intending to even use it in this way, but I'm so glad that I did buy the album a while ago, I think last year, when there was a sale on albums, and then I have a lot of the embellishments here in this container with some other travel themed items I've selected from my stash. I also will be adding things here and there from my stash as we go, and I'll try my best to remember to point them out to you. So I am going to speed up the camera and continue to narrate this process video. So you can see I've already played around with this configuration. This is the 2x2 pocket square page protector. It's one of my favorite page protector configurations for these albums. They just, I don't know, the way it's set up lends itself to so much potential for being creative, and I knew I wanted to use these plastic tags, and originally I had intended to use all of them, but there weren't enough for the 12 slots, and so I found this patterned paper from Paper Person Shop's collection a couple years ago. They're no longer in business, but that I know of anyway. So I thought it had the perfect colors and it made sense for the theme of these few pages, which is about our trip from New York to Michigan to Indiana to go camping. So that is why this is the first page here. I've got all of these little tags and then these black alphas, which are from, I think, an old Week in the Life collection maybe, and I actually ended up cutting up, I think it was an X or a W or something like that, or a Z, to create those little like arrows, if you will. That's what they're supposed to be. It's supposed to basically be saying, New York, arrow, Michigan, arrow, Indiana. So because that was like the itinerary for our little getaway. So I'm going to adhere all the letters, going row by row. I also have to add baker's twine. Well, I don't have to, but I want to add baker's twine to the tops of the tags that have color. And then I thought about adding twine to the tops of the like dragonfly paper. I'm not sure if I will. I think I left it without because there's so much other color and other things happening, and I thought it might just be, even for me, over the top, because if you know me, then you know I'm an over embellisher. So right now I decided on a couple of these spaces that I was going to fill them in with photos. So I printed them all out in black and white so as to, not take away from the fun like patterns I have going on already. And one of the milestones on our trip was that I went from 99,000 miles on my car to 100. So that is what that flip up is right there on the orange plastic tag. Then the next picture is I took a photo of when we had pulled up to my in-laws' house. So that is there, and I just used, I'm using these grabby paint pens. They're really fantastic, and they write extremely fine. So I enjoy using them in my projects and in my journaling. So I just wrote Michigan with a heart, or the abbreviation for Michigan, and put a little green puffy enamel heart on the top right above their home. And I chose green because the tag was green, but it's also fitting because our family, because of that, where they are, both my in-laws went to Michigan State, so we are a big Michigan State fan family. So that was just perfect that the house ended up being on the green tag. And then the final photo is just Nora in the back seat of the car during our trip at some point, and her big adult molars are coming in, and she was in a lot of pain. So she's got like a ice cup up against her cheek, and then she's just kind of sitting there watching her iPad and all cozy in the back seat. So that is going to wrap up the first page, and I do think this video will probably be at least 4 process videos, maybe 3, maybe 5, I don't know, somewhere around there. And then of course, as usual, I'll do a final flip through, but my goal is to have this album, or well, not the whole album, because there's another vacation that's going in here. We have one last trip at the end of August. We're tagging along on my husband's work trip to Pittsburgh. So that will be the other portion of this, what gets documented in this album. And so that will be obviously coming, but my goal is to get this portion of our summer trip documented before we leave for Pittsburgh. So on the back side of this 2x2 page protector, I cut up this, I found this green pattern paper, which is from the Fun Storyteller Kit. Again, going with green. And Nora and Fiona, it's one of my favorite pictures of them from that evening. We arrived around 5 o'clock, and they immediately, once Fiona came over, of course, the girls ran off and started playing, and they ended up making up some dances to the different songs from K-pop Demon Hunter, which they're both obsessed with, as are many kids and adults out there right now, including myself. The soundtrack is just so good. So anyway, they were in what we call the green room in my in-laws' house, and they were showing us part of their dance. And so it's perfect that right behind them is, you can see in the photo, there's the Michigan State flag. There's also like a bit of a Red Wings flag peeking behind them as well. And so I just think it's a really cute photo to include. And I like that I thought to cut it up into different squares and make sure that where I was cutting the picture into the squares, I wasn't chopping off like between somebody's eyeball or in the middle of their face. So it worked out really well. It was really serendipitous that it worked out that way. And then I just took that pattern paper and kind of made a border. And then I had this Adventure Awaits tag that's from Studio Calico, and this other tag that's an older Heidi Swap tag. Then I decided it needed a little bit of something extra. Oh, and I'm also adding the Home Sweet Home label to the photo, one of the photos, with a little puffy arrow. The little extra thing I felt like it needed were I wanted to create little layers. So behind the two labels, I'm going to add some fussy cutout hearts that I decided to just cut out of the same pattern paper and tape to the outside of the page protector, which I think adds a little bit of interest and texture, and I like the way that looks. I also did add a couple of puffy stickers and the Michigan letters, like abbreviated letters there for the state with a geotag. And I think it's a very simple looking page. And actually, after I finished filming, I do go back and add little bits of washi in different places on the pages I worked on, because I'm obsessed with the washi for this collection. And so I just added a little bit of washi underneath each of those tags. So there's like a little cluster of a washi strip, a tag, and a fussy cut heart, which I did distress around the edges with my Tim Holtz distressing tool. I was writing with a Zebra Sarasa dry gel pen in a 0.4 nib, and those are linked to my Amazon storefront in case you want to check them out. They're my favorite gel pen. They dry quickly, hence the name dry, and they write very, very dark and juicy. So then moving on to the right side, I should read you the journaling. It just says basically what I already told you, but it says early Saturday, and in parentheses it says 6 a.m. We left Troy and drove to Michigan. We arrived, quote, home at around 5, and Jesse, Sam, and Fiona came for nachos soon after. We ate and the girls played, dancing to K-pop Demon Hunter music. I thought I was pretty clever, so I took the nap. Moving on to the right, I decided to get extra creative. Science museum that we went to. So that was Saturday. Then going into Sunday, I decided, since there were so many different random things we did that day, that I wanted to kind of treat it like I did Week in the Life, where I used a timestamp, or like kind of like a timestamp to notate when these different things happened. So I decided to take this old ledger cardstock from Paper Person Shop, adhered it to the backside of the map from Impression 5 Science Museum where we went. And that would be how I introduced, it's Sunday and here's what we did before you get into the rest of the photos from Sunday. So I stamped it out with the alphas that are from the recent Week in the Life collection. And then I stamped 10 o'clock and said we went to Graham's church, which is, he's my father-in-law, first. And I said that it was what I expected. 12 o'clock, we decided to stay out all day. So we stopped for lunch at a fast food place we definitely don't have here in New York called Fazoli's. It was decent and very affordable with endless breadsticks and gluten-free for Nora. And then 1:30, we went to the Impression 5 Science Museum. Matt went a lot as a kid, so it was nostalgic for him. Nora loved it. She's a STEAM girly. Then 5 o'clock, I said we met the family at New Holland Brewing Company for Josh's birthday. That's Matt's brother. The food was great. They're known for their wood-grilled pizza. Nora got a gluten-free spinach artichoke one and ate it all. It was great to be together. Before I get too ahead of myself right now, you can see I'm trying to figure out the construction of this flip out feature. So just adhering my score tape so that I can create the space for me to do my journaling. And at the top, I just added a little something for interest. So there's just, again, another little washi cluster there. And then I took one of the chipboard phrases that says here and there, and I glued that down. Later on, off camera, I think it is, I add a tab that says here and now so that you know to open this out and see the map underneath. I also added a piece of washi along the vertical, it laid vertically along the side of where the hole punches are. It worked out really well. Oh, there's Toothless saying hi. He loves to like jump up from the floor right on top of my desk and, you know, just insert himself and his cat hair all over my projects. I mean, what is, my mother-in-law calls the animal hair, she has dogs, but any animal hair really that gets all over your stuff, she calls them magical fibers of love. So there's lots of magical fibers of love in my projects and in my planner. Comment down below if you also have magical fibers of love in your projects. Okay, so on the back side, I found this fun blue pattern paper, although you don't really see much of the pattern part because I have this larger photo of Nora at the museum. I thought it was the cutest picture of her from the day, which is why I made it the biggest one. You can see her little like sticker on her shirt, which I ended up saving and using to embellish a photo that's going to go on the right side. And then I just love embellishing. That's like my favorite part. You know, once I figure out the logistics of how photos are going to be placed and how I want my journaling to look, then it's just me getting to play. So I decided to pull out my pom-pom trim and I added some blue pom-pom trim to the left of this picture. Then I added, actually, I don't know if I can't remember if I work on the embellishment first before I go to the left side, or to the right side of this spread. So to the right, there's going to be a page protector. So I love working both in and out of the page protectors. Okay, so it looks like, oh, my photo was a little crooked, so I had to do some fussy cutting once I had already adhered it to the paper. Oops. But I did want to use this tag because of the colors. It worked perfectly. It says, take only memories, leave only footprints. It's a quote by Chief Seattle. And then I punched out this, I just printed this off of the internet. It just says that they won the award for the best children's museum by Newsweek, Reader's Choice Award for 2025. So I wanted to include that little tidbit there. And then I went into my stash and I pulled out these heart stickers. I actually purchased a whole bunch of stickers and chipboard embellishments from somebody there's an Ali Edwards buy sell trade group on Facebook, and I purchased quite a few sheets a while back. So I pulled out those hearts and used those both on the left and the right. And then the last thing I do on the left is I have this another cutout that I printed from the interwebs of the logo of the museum. You can kind of see it peeking over in the top right corner of the screen right now that says Impression 5. And I decided to just adhere that to the top left corner of this photo. So there's kind of, you know, that diagonal movement on the page. So once this larger, you know, outside the page protector photo is finished being all touched up and embellished, then I'm going to make sure the flip out works correctly. So that I like fast forward through it because the stamping and the journaling, it's just kind of long and boring. So I'll leave in the journaling this time, but it'll be super, super sped up so that you guys can see the stamping part as well. It's really not that exciting, but again, you know, sometimes if I cut out too much, I feel bad and I feel like people want to see it. So yeah, I just don't want this video to be like super, super long. It was like 3 hours worth of real-time filming though. I am debating still adding tabs to, like, Avery Index tabs to the outside of these pages to indicate, or to differentiate rather, that this was the first part of our, like, summer vacation versus, when we're going to Pittsburgh. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to differentiate that yet. But I also realized that I stamped Sunday, but I didn't stamp Monday, or Saturday rather, for the previous day's travel day. But I'm not sure if there's room to do that in the 2x2 configuration. I'll have to kind of think about that. It's there are a lot of fillers with those squares, but I think it might be awkward now to go back and add to stamp Saturday. I don't know. I can try to finagle it. I can try to think about it and see if I can make that work. If I do, I'll make sure to mention it in the video next week, where I'll do part 2 of this travel album. Okay, so I did end up cutting out a little bit of the journaling time in the middle there next to the 12 o'clock, and then at the end after I stamped the 5 o'clock. So I'm making sure that the flip out works well, it's perfect, and as far as like the construction of it's concerned, and now I can work on telling the rest of the story from our trip at the museum. So I have these tags, the blue tag that matches the chipboard tag that I used on the left, and then a picture of Nora inside a giant bubble, which she always loves doing if we go to any type of science museum. And she was able to get the bubble all the way over her head, which was awesome. And the fact that I was able to snap the picture right at that moment was the best. And then I had gone ahead and created a grid 4x6 photo of some of our favorite moments from the museum that day. Not every single photo I took, actually, maybe every single photo did make it in. I think it did. At least that were like good quality. There were a few that, like nobody was looking at the camera, or my thumb was in the way, or, that type of thing. But I'm just gonna use this card, this tag shaped card, to do my journaling. I stamped Family Vacation, which, if you saw, I masked it out because the way that it's meant to be used is kind of like a vertical orientation, but I wanted it to look horizontal so that I could create a cluster of stamps. So I have Family Vacation, then Enjoy Where You Are Now, and Life Was Made for Adventure. The second stamp set I'm working off of is an old Heidi Swap stamp set, and the Family Vacation phrase came from an Everyday Explorer stamp set. Then I'm going to just journal about how we had a good time at the museum, and that Nora loves hands-on science-based play. And I also said that I enjoy watching Matt teaching Nora about physics, etc., and them playing together. Because really, I'm not a STEM girly. I know y'all are probably shocked, but I'm not. So it's usually me observing Nora having fun and watching the two of them kind of interact, which is awesome. I think it's great. So there's also the leftover sticker you could see that Nora was wearing. That was your way of like showing that you paid. They gave you like this sticker to wear, and I kept them, of course, because obviously I'm a trash panda. That's what my family calls me. So whenever we go on vacation, I try to save as much, quote, trash. I call it ephemera or memorabilia, but I think it looked really cute just there on the photo, and I left that just the way it was, very simple. Then I'm going to use some of these word phrase strips that are from this year's or last year's collection. And then I have another set of word phrase strips that I'm going to bring in at some point. Maybe not during this particular spread. But I just cut out seeing new things and so much to see. I thought that made sense. And I just put a little heart, and that called that good. So that's all finished, and now I get to work on the rest of our Sunday story, part of the rest of that is the rest of our Sunday story, sorry, which is about our meeting family in the Battle Creek area to go to the New Holland Brewing Company, where Matt's brother Josh wanted to have dinner to celebrate his birthday. So it was a long day. We were out all day. I saved the receipt from dinner. And then I went online and I just found like their logo and printed it out on just my regular matte photo paper that I use, and tucked that in the same side of the page protector. I also, again, used this orange tag to do my journaling, and I found these, I was watching Leilani Scraps, her summer junk journal, or junk scrap journal. I forget what she calls it, but it's super, super cute. And I was inspired to pull out some of my older Heidi Swap items that I just have been totally forgot about and have been sitting in my shelf. And she has these definition stickers. I have a ton of them. And this one said adventure, and it has the definition. So I trimmed out each of those lines for the definition and just adhered those onto the journaling card. And then I wrote that it was a treat to see everyone. Everybody went except for Lori, my mother-in-law, who wasn't feeling well. It was loud, crazy, and chaotic with all the cousins running around and playing. Perfection. And then I just have a picture, my favorite picture of all the cousins sitting up against the windowsill. We had this big private room in the brewery, which was really nice. And they all sat up on the windowsill and took a picture. So I just kept that photo super simple. I embellished it with the fun definition because I have the fun storyteller paper to the right that I'm using. So I thought, oh, that's perfect. Then I just added a little strip of washi and another one of those hearts just to layer together a little cluster. That will do it for the left side of the spread. Again, we're going back and forth between inside and outside the page protector. So I have this fun storyteller kit paper left over. The colors, again, perfect for this collection. I think they meshed really well. So I'm obviously, playing off of the colors in this paper, which is, in my opinion, a lot of orange and red. I have these smaller photos that I printed out from the restaurant, just the chaos happening at these tables that they had put together, and a picture of Nora and her youngest cousin, TJ. So I'm cutting out some of those word phrase strips. I have finally here, trying new things, and go see do. I'm going to adhere those for each photo. And then, another thing I do off camera and after filming is over is using my photo corner stickers from Heidi Swap, again, inspired by Leilani, to use my stash. So added those also for a little pop of color on the photos, which you'll see that in the next process video or in the final flip through. I do want to mention I go through quite a bit of embellishments that I edited out so you guys don't have to see me go through all my stuff. But I was trying to figure out what to do with the top right corner there, that negative space, and I decided to stamp right there. So I remembered I had a stamp set that had to do with food and eating out, and I used that. It's one from Studio Calico. I don't know if you can still purchase it or not. But I stamped it with black ink, and then I used my Rytech brush pen in an orange color to color in the title. And then I also stamped a fork and knife just for a little something in between the photo cluster on the left. You can see I added the puffy pizza sticker. That's an old Ali Edwards sticker as well. And then I'm pretty obsessed with these little heart stickers. I really need Ali Edwards. If you're watching, probably she's not, but I really need more like hearts and stars really, stickers, puffy stickers and regular stickers that just come in a variety of colors. I would love that for us. Okay. So then I'm just going to do my journaling on that little tag there, which I am not going to put on camera because, again, this video would be super, super long. But here's where I decided to go through my different definitions, and I loved that this one said adventure because that's what this was basically like, an adventure. So I decided to, it was way too long to fit on that pocket card, so that's why I'm just trimming it down. I think that also looks really fun too. It looks like kind of whimsical, like I typed it on my own typewriter, which, I don't have a typewriter, but that would be kind of fun. And it looks like I just typed it up myself and then cut it to fit. So that's a nice little sticker hack there. We call it, in my planning videos, if you watch those, I call it sticker surgery. Okay, so I've got everything back in the album, and I'm just going to put some twine at the top of these two cards. And I feel like the brown twine makes sense because it's a neutral color and it shows on both sides. All right, so on the edge of this page, I'm just going to add this pom-pom trim, this orange pom-pom trim that I have in my stash. I bought a whole big pack of it last year before December Daily, I think. So I have quite a few colors that I did not use in that project and have been using in other albums. This is the one of our favorite things to do when we go to Michigan. They have now they have 2 locations, one in Battle Creek and one in the Lansing area. Not Lansing. Oh gosh, I can't even remember the name of the city that it's in. But anyway, it's called Horrocks, and I talk about it all the time whenever we go home. And by home, I mean to Matt's home in Michigan. It's a huge, huge, like, it's like if they took a farmer's market and put it inside, but then also, like, it's not just produce, it's also dry goods, it's also, like, rows and rows of beans and meat, and then they have, like, a huge, huge alcohol, like, section, and people actually, like, Matt and I have gone on dates there. They have indoor and outdoor seating, a bar outside and inside. It's just so cool. There's nothing like it here anyway that I've found. So I decided I would save this portion of the bag from our purchase and adhere it to the back of this paper. And there was a little bit of space on the left and right, so I decided to put the washi tape there as well. Then I'm going to tuck this little photo of Nora in front of our favorite thing to get. We stock up on tons of candy when we go. So they have all kinds of saltwater taffy. And I created that little insert there. I cut one of the page protector, like plastic tab page protector thingies that Allie Edwards makes in half, and just sandwiched it between the photo and then the vellum card on the back that says "More adventures, please." You're going to see me embellishing the photo and the vellum card here, and I'll read you the journaling while you watch me put that together. So this is an old paper. It's got smelling, hearing, seeing, touching, tasting. It says currently sensing, and I thought that was a good page. I've had it in my stash for a few years now to document our trip to Horrocks. So I said, smelling all the smells, fresh produce, sushi, prepared lunches, cheese, and the delicious aroma of coffee. Hearing the beep of cash registers constantly ringing out, a conversation between some young college-age kids deciding on beers, Nora's giddy squeals at the candy. Seeing so much food in aisles of various goods, from gluten-free to seeds that can be ground up, it's lovely. Touching packages and packages of candy and snacks to bring with us. Handfuls of saltwater taffy in buckets row by row, all the gummies. Tasting samples of gummy candy, but no need to get a taste of saltwater taffy since we've already had all the flavors. Jellystone, here we come. So this was our last stop before we went out to go check in at our campsite at Jellystone. So this actually was Monday's story. Again, I'm going to have to maybe I'll stamp it on the top of the paper bag that I cut out. I think I'm going to stamp it on the top of that so that it differentiates that that's a new day. And so I guess I talked pretty quick because I'm still working on embellishing. So I've pulled out these puffy stickers from Paper Person's, I think it's like an old travel collection. So I trimmed down this little sticker here of the buildings, and then I put the stoplight, which I think is so cute, and just these little puffy clouds. And I think it looks really nice against the black vellum. I love the way it turned out. I was not sure what to expect, but I really like it. And I love combining my different items from my stash with items from the travel collection last year. That is like a fun little challenge for me. Also, one thing I will note, I did edit out quite a bit at the end. I put down some enamel dots. I tried to find enamel dots that matched all of the circles on the currently sensing page paper, and I did. And I also found some coordinating puffy hearts as well. So each little circle gets a enamel dot and a puffy heart, but I switched up how they look. So I decided to just edit the very end of that out. And you can see in, I don't know if it's in my flip through at the end, but I think in my reel that's on Instagram, you can see the new configuration. It's not really a big deal. It's a teeny detail. Like right now you can see the enamel dots and the hearts are spread apart, and I didn't like that. I thought it looked too crazy. So just adding a little tab there, pop it back in the album, and then I'm going to do a flip through of all the pages that I worked on in this video in real time. So another thing I did off camera was I adhered the tags and the paper tags that I made with that dragonfly paper to the 2x2 green cards there, pattern paper there, so that they would stay a little bit more secure inside the pockets. Then the flip out still doesn't have the washi down the left side, but it'll get that treatment after this video. I think I didn't mess with anything on these pages. I think they stayed exactly like this. And then I did add, what did I add on the, oh, those photo corners that aren't there. They're not there on that part. So see on the top left above the H, I'm going to stamp Monday. All right, so I hope you enjoyed. Please like this video if you did, subscribe if you're not, and hit the bell so you don't miss my content. And I'll look forward to seeing you back next week. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and remember, you are enough. Bye-bye.